All right, so this is news just coming in. The ambassador of Palestine to Pakistan has been seen sharing the stage with global terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The Palestinian envoy Walid Abu Ali attended a rally organized by the Difa-e-Pakistan Council at Liaquat Bagh in Rawalpindi on Friday. The Difa-e-Pakistan Council is an alliance of Islamist troops operating inside Pakistan. Just to bring our viewers up to speed with the news breaking this moment on WION, the ambassador of Palestine, which you can see on your screens right now, has been seen sharing the stage with the globally designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The envoy, Walid Abu Ali, attended a rally organized by the Difa-e-Pakistan Council in Rawalpindi on Friday. The Difa-e-Pakistan Council is an alliance of Islamist groups operating in Pakistan. This is the news breaking this hour on WION, and we'll try to get you more updates as we go forward. But just to bring our viewers up to speed with the breaking news on WION this moment, the ambassador of Palestine, who you can see on your screens right now, has been seen sharing the stage with the globally designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The Palestinian envoy, Walid Abu Ali, attended a rally organized by the Difa-e-Pakistan Council at Liaquat Bagh in Rawalpindi on Friday. Now, the Difa-e-Pakistan Council is an alliance of Islamist groups operating inside Pakistan. All right, we'll stay on these visuals for now. These are the visuals coming to you from that meeting organized by the Difa-e-Pakistan Council in Rawalpindi on Friday, where the ambassador of Palestine to Pakistan can be seen sharing the stage with the globally designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed, who India says, among others, is responsible for the Mumbai attacks of 2008. Hafiz Saeed, as you might be aware, used to head the Lashkar-e-Taiba, now called the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, and India says is behind many terrorist attacks in India over the last many decades, including, as I mentioned, the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai, which claimed more than 100 lives, including foreign nationals from the US and Israel. Right, so just to bring our viewers up to speed with the news breaking on WION this moment. As you can see on your screens right now, the ambassador of Palestine to Pakistan can be seen sharing the stage with the globally designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The envoy, Walid Abu Ali, attended a rally organized by the Difa-e-Pakistan Council. All right, I'm told I'm now joined by my Pakistan colleague Taha Siddiqui on the phone line from Islamabad. Taha, as we're seeing these visuals on our screens of the Palestinian ambassador sharing the stage with Hafiz Saeed, what more details do you have at this point in time about this particular meeting and the circumstances leading up to that meeting?
Well, basically, today the Difa-e-Pakistan Council, which is the Pakistan Defense Council, which is an umbrella of banned militant organizations that came into being in 2011, they had an event in the adjacent city to Islamabad in Rawalpindi, the headquarters of the military, the garrison city called Rawalpindi, where this particular political gathering was being held, and Hafiz Saeed was the chief guest at this particular event, and also present at the event was the Palestinian ambassador, as you mentioned also, who we've seen visuals of him and photos of him alongside with Hafiz Saeed. The purpose of this event was to raise awareness with regards to the recent steps that the United States has taken with regards to making Jerusalem moving the embassy there and calling it the capital of Israel. And it was against that particular thing. We've seen that, the Hafiz Saeed and his movement and the Pakistan Defense Council, Jamaat-ud-Dawa, have been organizing such rallies across Pakistan. And in that sort of context, this was being done in Rawalpindi, and the Palestinian ambassador was also present while Hafiz Saeed spoke. and talked about how basically it is not accepted for the Muslim world to have Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Taha, I have to ask you this. Is it normal, is it usual for a foreign diplomat posted to Pakistan to share the stage with such personalities as Hafiz Saeed? Have you seen any other precedent before this of a serving diplomat of a foreign country posted to Pakistan sharing the stage with a terrorist such as Hafiz Saeed?
Well, we haven't seen particularly, somebody attending a political rally of, especially given the fact that they have diplomatic status. But we do have examples of diplomats from the GCC countries, from the Gulf countries, so namely Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and all of these Gulf countries, they have in the past visited different groups. For example, they have had delegations meeting with Jamaat al-Dawa in the past. They have delegations that have met with Sipahi Sahaba, which is another Sunni extremist organization. And usually these delegations meet under the sort of the garb of meeting with religious groups and religious sort of organizations and meeting together, given the fact that, they share the same faith and have the same sort of sect. So we've seen those kind of meetings, but this particular meeting, this particular sort of attendance of an ambassador at a political gathering or at a rally is one of its kind.
Indeed, one of its kind, says my colleague Taha Siddiqui. Taha, stay on. I'm now joined by another senior journalist from Pakistan, Arsalan Bhatti. Mr. Bhatti, if you are with me, isn't it unprecedented in a sense for a serving diplomat posted to Pakistan to share the stage with a globally designated terrorist such as Hafiz Saeed?
The last sentence, you can say, I can't say the globally recognized or declared.
How would you describe Hafiz Saeed, Mr. Bhatti?
He was under severe house arrest for the last 8 months. Nothing was proved against him. Investigations are still on. One thing should be remembered by the Indian media, that if somebody was declared a terrorist, there should be something behind him, or there is some misdeed behind him. There is no misdeed of what we called Hafiz Saeed, but I'm not indulging in this discussion. What you asked is that serving envoy to Pakistan was seen in the rally of Mr. Hafiz Saeed. This is the individual act of that envoy, whosoever he is. And you can't comment on it. It is his prerogative to go there, to address there, to meet there, to do anything that he wants or she wants. You can't stop an envoy to meet any person, although he has to tell the security agencies and the security people that he is going or she is going somewhere to meet somebody. That is done, but according to diplomatic norms. But you can't stop any diplomat from meeting or from having a cup of tea, from exchanging views with any person in this. Number 3, Hafiz Saeed, somebody was saying before me that he is using as a political platform. One thing should be cleared once for all in the minds of all Indian analysts and Indian channels, that no political party was going or is going to be registered in the name of Mr. Hafiz Saeed. That is Milli Muslim League or any Muslim League. No political party will be given any representation in Pakistan election, in Pakistan political setup, whosoever has any linkages or under suspicion of terrorist activities or any activities, subversive activities which is against the law of the Pakistan.
All right.
Therefore, there is no chance of any registration of Milli Muslim League with the Election Commission of Pakistan. Thank you.
Mr. Arsalan Bhatti, before we let go of you, you have just demolished Pakistan's own argument when you said that just because the US designates Hafiz Saeed as a terrorist, there is no reason for Pakistanis to believe or to deem him so. The same argument applies for another Indian national called Kulbhushan Jadhav, who you describe in very flowery language, but India denies the same. So clearly the opinion is as much divided as it is in any other part of the world, be it Hafiz Saeed or any other national, as you just mentioned. But But if I can bring in Sushant Sareen in the discussion at this point in time. Sushant, thank you for joining, first of all, on WION this evening. We are watching these visuals of the Palestinian ambassador to Pakistan sharing the stage with Hafiz Saeed. In your estimation, is it normal, is it usual for a serving diplomat posted to a foreign country to share a stage with a globally designated terrorist such as Hafiz Saeed?
Well, I don't think... let me just join issue with what Mr. Bhatti was saying, whatever I could hear him. Number one, Hafiz Saeed is not just US designated, he is UN designated. So he is an internationally designated terrorist by every stretch of imagination. Number two, for him to say that this was an individual act of an envoy, envoys do not do individual acts. They represent whether the state, para-state, whatever that country might be, but they are representing their people. So there is no individual act. Number three, we are nobody to stop him. But we are certainly, I don't think the Pakistanis can say that we have no right to comment on his hobnobbing with and sharing the stage with an international designated terrorist, not just one, but a bunch of disreputable characters who were there on that stage. Number four, and last point on what Mr. Bhatti was saying, for him to say that Milli Muslim League is not going to be registered, and at the same time saying there is no evidence against Hafiz Saeed or this bunch of terrorists, then what is the problem in not registering them? Then why are the Pakistani authorities so shary of registering these people? What are they scared of? If these guys are the Pakistani versions of Mother Teresa and the missionaries of charity, then why not let them make a political party? But having said that, I think this is just desserts for the kind of brainless foreign policy India has been following for the last 70 years, backing lost causes like Palestine, people who have never stood with us. They have never stood with us. Whenever push comes to shove, they find comfort in their ummah and they find comfort with terrorists because they happen to be co-religionists. In our case, a country like Israel or a country like the US, at least in the last 20 years, have stood by us. Every time we have some problem, we go to the US and we ask them to pull our chestnuts out of fire. The Israelis have helped us on innumerable occasions, especially during when we have wars with Pakistan. On numerous occasions, on whether it is on technology, whether it is on all sorts of other things, the Israelis have helped us. And what do? We go and vote against them. The least we could have done is abstain. And when the Arabs come and tell us that, we should vote in a certain way, then what was the pushback from our side? And what was the quid pro quo from the Arab side? Do the Arabs stand with us when it comes to matters of core interest to India? They don't. So why, on this particular issue, should we be standing with them? And these Palestinians, in any case, they have been involved in all sorts of terrorism. International terrorism emanates from Palestine, and they behave like victims, and then they hobnob with other terrorist groups. It is bizarre, and I would expect the government of India now to summon the Palestinian ambassador and demand an explanation for why this has happened. And the prospective visit of the Prime Minister to the Palestinian territories, I think that needs to be now put, I think that needs to be postponed, if not scrapped altogether.
All right. Sushant, your point is well taken. Do stay on, if you will. I want to bring in Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti, a senior Indian diplomat who has served as a former Indian diplomat who served as the High Commissioner to Bangladesh and was also posted to Israel. Mr. Chakravarti, thank you for waiting patiently there and good to have you back on WION. And Sushant was talking about how bizarre it all seems, especially in light of India's decision to vote for the UNGA resolution backing the Arab and Palestinian cause vis-a-vis the Trump decision on Jerusalem. Your thoughts as we watch these visuals coming to us from Pakistan of the Palestinian ambassador sharing the stage with none other than Hafiz Saeed?
I'm quite amazed that the Palestinian ambassador is doing this in Pakistan. And I think Sushant is right in the sense that the Indian government should summon the Palestinian ambassador in Delhi and ask him what the hell is going on. I mean, after all, we are supporting Palestine. the least we can expect from the Palestinian ambassador in Pakistan is not to hop up with a man like Hafiz Saeed. So I don't know what is happening really. But I think this is a time to make a call on all these issues that we have been dealing with. And I think slowly, I think the matter is heading towards a situation where I think we will have to review our policy on Palestine. And I think if this kind of a thing goes on, then the Palestinians must know that India is not going to just sit back and watch all this happen.
Right. Your point is well taken, Ambassador Chakravarti. Just a quick follow-up question. As a diplomat who has served in countries around the world, is it usual, is it normal for someone, a serving diplomat, a foreign diplomat posted to a foreign country, to be sharing the stage with such a personality as Hafiz Saeed? I mean, I'm just curious to understand if there any precedent you can cite in your long career.
Look, your question is actually, I mean, the answer is very simple. That obviously no reasonable diplomat who knows what he's doing will ever do such a thing. I mean, that's very clear. But I think why is the Palestinian ambassador in Islamabad doing it? I think that is a matter to be investigated. Has he been paid money, for example, or is he doing it out of his own personal volition? I think we should take it up with the Palestinian leadership and ask them for an explanation as to why this is happening. And I think the best way to do it is to summon the Palestinian ambassador and ask him.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chakravarti, for joining us on the phone line this evening. I want to bring in Mr. T.P. Srinivasan, a former permanent representative of India to the United Nations in New York. Thank you, Ambassador Srinivasan, for waiting patiently there, and good to have you join us on WION this evening. I was talking to Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti a moment ago, and he seemed to suggest that India should review its policy towards Palestine in light of these latest visuals coming to us from Pakistan, where we can see the Palestinian ambassador to Pakistan share a stage with none other than Hafiz Saeed, a UN-designated terrorist at that. Ambassador Srinivasan?
Yes, but we have to find out exactly what the circumstances are. What he said is right. We have to review if he has participated in anything with Hafiz Saeed, which is prejudicial to India. But my suspicion is that this function may have been also to express solidarity with the Palestinians. So he may have got in a trap. So they may have said that this is about Palestine, and he may have gone there. And of course, when he saw Hafiz Saeed, he should have left. But having reached there, probably he thought that there was no harm in staying there and talking about Palestine. And I'm sure he would have talked nothing about Kashmir. So it is a serious issue which we have to certainly take up. But I would reserve my position before the exact reason for his presence is understood.
All right. Just a quick follow-up question, Ambassador Srinivasan. You've served in the UN. Now, India recently voted for a UNGA resolution that criticized and condemned the Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Now, there were many in India who seemed to speculate in the lead-up to the vote that India would do well to abstain on the vote rather than voting for the UNGA resolution moved by some of the Arab countries, including Palestine and other countries in the neighborhood. With the benefit of hindsight, in light of what we are seeing through these visuals coming to us from Pakistan, would you say that India should revisit its policies towards both Israel and Palestine, especially in light of how we voted in the UNGA recently?
No, it is too early to come to that conclusion, as I said earlier. Our relationship with Palestine is very, very old, very, very strong. And we were one of the first to recognize Palestine as an independent state and treat Arafat as a head of state. So this is not a minor issue. So this has to be studied. If one gentleman has made a mistake, that does not mean that we throw the baby with the bath water. So we need to study the situation, and our vote was right, because this is something totally unacceptable to us and totally against all international norms. And I'm glad that we did not change our vote into abstention, except for Canada and Australia. None of the friends of the United States abstained. So this was the right decision that we took on Palestine. It goes back to the days of Mahatma Gandhi. How can you just review it just like that because some gentleman appeared somewhere? So that will be too quick and too fast a reaction. Let us study it and take it up with the Palestinian authorities and get an explanation, and then we should see.
All right. Thank you, Ambassador Srinivasan. That was Ambassador 3P Srinivasan, a former Indian permanent representative of the UN in New York, who was joining us on the phone line. If I can go back one more time to Ambassador Chakravarti, Ambassador Chakravarti, if you are still with me, I want to get a sense from you as to whether the ambassador or any diplomat should have done due diligence as to who his or her host might be. And in this case, it was evident that this is none other than a designated terrorist, Hafiz Saeed. So why would a sitting or serving diplomat choose to go to this function when he knows very much about the antecedents of his host?
I would like to pick up on what Ambassador Srinivasan just said, that, that this could have been a great sort of some kind of a sort of event for support to Palestine or something like that. But clearly, this guy, the Palestinian ambassador, didn't do his due diligence. And he turned up and found this guy, sitting next to this guy. If I were in his place, I would have objected to his presence, or I would have said, I'm sorry, I can't stay here. I will go back, because this is not what I expected. I don't know whether he knew it or this was just a trap for him, and it may well have been. But I think he's a bit of a pickle, and he has to do a lot of explanation.
All right. Your point is well taken, Ambassador Chakravarti. You were listening to Ambassador Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti, former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, who also served as an Indian diplomat in Israel, sharing his view on this news breaking on WION this moment. As you can see on your screens right now, the ambassador of Palestine to Pakistan sharing the stage with none other than Hafiz Saeed, a UN-designated terrorist, who India says was responsible for the killings of more than 100 people in Mumbai in 2008, among other terror attacks his organization carried out elsewhere in India. Just to bring our viewers up to speed with the news we are breaking here on WION this evening, the ambassador of Palestine to Pakistan has been seen sharing a stage with globally designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The envoy, Walid Abu Ali, attended a rally organized by the Defy Pakistan Council at Liaquat Bagh in Rawalpindi on Friday. Now, the Defy Pakistan Council is an alliance of Islamist political groups in Pakistan. Saeed, as I said, is a globally designated terrorist and the mastermind of the 2008 terror attacks in Mumbai. All right, I'm now joined by my colleague Aisha Sindhu from the WION newsroom. Aisha, would we be having any more updates on this news breaking here on WION about the Palestinian envoy sharing the stage with Hafiz Saeed?
Ramesh, as far as the information about this meeting on Friday of this sharing of the stage goes, it stays at what we have right now. But I suppose it throws up interesting commentaries because as many Pakistani commentators who've spoken with you earlier, it seems there's an inherent dichotomy with the way Pakistan looks at Hafiz Saeed. On the one hand, they say that, the United States or anyone else designating a national of Pakistan a terrorist makes absolutely no difference. But at the same time, the Election Commission of Pakistan has held back from allowing the political wing of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, the Milli Muslim League, from being registered as a political party. So why the dichotomy? If there is no problem with Mr. Saeed, then why prevent his political party from being mainstreamed into politics? And I suppose that's where the meat of the matter lies, because at the one hand we see a number of major political parties sort of quoting these extremist voices such as Mr. Saeed with the hope of garnering in a political dividend. But at the same time, there's fear that the popularity that they enjoy will also put these very same political parties out of favor with the common man. And if I can just add, it's interesting that this entire episode has taken place in Rawalpindi, which is the headquarters of the army. The military, of course, has been one of the parties that is accused of propping people like Hafiz Saeed up. So it's interesting that the meeting takes place on a Friday, which is, of course, an extremely, let's say, important day as far as Islam goes, and that it's taking place in Rawalpindi, a place where perhaps these kind of rallies receive a bit more security, a bit more sanction.
Indeed, Aisha, do stay on. If I can bring back my colleague Taha Siddiqui back into the discussion this evening. Taha, as Aisha was saying there, right under the nose of Pakistan's military in Rawalpindi, the Palestinian envoy to Pakistan attends a rally addressed by Hafiz Saeed. Now, what were the circumstances for this function to be held in the first place? There's still some uncertainty about was it a show of support for Palestine or solidarity with Palestine, and what are you picking up?
Well, basically, this was done under the umbrella of Pakistan Defense Council, which is a group of banned militant organizations that include Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Sipahi Sahaba, and other such groups. And it was formed in 2011 against the NATO supply route in going through Pakistan and against normalizing relations with India. And this group has been recently reactivated ever since we've seen that, the Trump announcement of the Pak-Afghan policy. There has been a revival of this particular organization called Pakistan Defense Council, or Defy Pakistan in Urdu. And they have been holding rallies across Pakistan with regards to this. The recent decision of the United States administration to move the capital or move the embassy to Jerusalem, the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem in Israel. And this was organized to protest that, and basically it was called the Al-Quds rally, and in which Hafiz Saeed himself was the chief guest, and the Palestinian ambassador was also present alongside with him. Hafiz Saeed mainly spoke about the decision of Trump and sort of threatened the United States. Then also further on, he talked about, mostly the same sort of rhetoric that we always hear from him with regards to India, with regards to Kashmir and Palestine. So in a way, ever since this decision has been taken by the United States with regards to Jerusalem, we're seeing that Islamists and extremist organizations in Pakistan are capitalizing on it and sort of, playing it up with their constituencies and using that as a pretext to sort of organize religious gatherings and political gatherings in the country.
Right. Taha, do stay on. If I can bring our viewers up to speed with the latest news breaking here on WION. Now, the Palestine support to the global terrorists comes weeks after India voted against US President Donald Trump's Jerusalem move at the UN. Now, questions are being asked, is this how Palestine pays India back? There are no easy answers to that question yet, but this is one question that will reverberate for some time to come. As I said, especially in light of India's decision to vote for the UNGA resolution condemning Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, where India voted along with many other countries against Israel and the US on their decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And just to bring our viewers up to speed with the visuals we are showing you on your screens right now of the Palestine's ambassador to Pakistan sharing the stage with Hafiz Saeed, who has been designated as a global terrorist by the UN agency itself. So this is the big breaking news here on WION this evening. Right under the nose of Pakistan's military in Rawalpindi, the Palestine's envoy to Pakistan attends a rally addressed by global terrorist Hafiz Saeed. India says Hafiz Saeed is the man responsible and the mastermind of the 26/11/2008 terror attacks in Mumbai, which claimed more than 100 lives, including foreign nationals from the US and Israel. Hafiz Saeed used to head the Lashkar-e-Taiba, which has been now rechristened as Jamaat-ud-Dawa, and India says he is wanted in India for the Mumbai terror attacks and a host of other attacks elsewhere in the country. All right, so we'll stay on these visuals for the moment. The big breaking news here on WION this evening of Palestine's ambassador to Pakistan, who has been seen sharing a stage with global terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The Palestinian envoy, Walid Abu Ali, attended a rally organized by the Defy Pakistan Council at Liaquat Bagh in Rawalpindi on Friday. Now, the Defy Pakistan Council is an alliance of Islamist groups operating inside Pakistan. Now, as I said, Saeed is a globally designated terrorist and the mastermind of the 2008 terror attacks in Mumbai.